We're off on our holiday.
Are you actually excited?
Are you excited? Yeah, you want to go? Let's go. The chauffeur's just picked us up. We actually get 4 chauffeurs a year free through Emirates, just through Joe's Bank, which is really handy. So yeah, just heading to time to check in. So we're finally all checked in. Our cases were all underweight, which is great.
Always a bonus.
And Phoebe's already acting like a brat, so we're counting our lucky stars. It's only a 4-hour flight and not back to the UK, which is normally 7-8 hours. And yeah, just gonna hope for the best, really.
Trying to flip and show Phoebe's current situation. Phoebe? Ooh. So we've had Tinky Winky dropped about 8 times already.
And she's stolen my drink.
And she's stolen every drink, so yeah, lovely. Can't wait.
We'll keep you posted. So finally time to board. Phoebe? As you can see, she's still in a fantastic mood. One thing that Emirates are really good for is giving gifts for little kids. This is so cute, she's never got one of these before. It's a little rucksack. And then this little amenity kit. It's got a bib in it, I can't cope. So cute. And then standard other little airplanes to add to her collection of about 1 million things. But yeah, they're so, I think it's probably one of the most kid-friendly airlines we've flown on. She's just playing with their headphones while we wait to take off. Hopefully it won't be too long now. Finally we are here. So happy. Even Phoebe's happy. We've arrived.
We made it. Say hello, everyone.
Honestly, that 4-hour flight, we were saying thought it could be like that, but it actually felt really long.
Yeah, that was very long.
Phoebe didn't sleep until the last 10 minutes, which was fantastic. Yeah, we're through security.
Just waiting for the driver.
Yeah, just waiting for the driver. We've got like a 2-hour transfer now, so yeah, hopefully it goes quite quick. We're back from Sri Lanka. We're very, very, very sad about this. Now, despite the fact that we live in the sun, I'm telling you now, we've all got holiday blues. We got back yesterday and yeah, just been moping about since, really. But never mind, we could have come back to much worse places. So I just thought that I would do a quick video on, well, as quick as I can anyway, basically covering everything from where we stayed, what we did, our honest opinions on things, any tips, and also what it cost us, because I've had quite a few people message asking me to share with them all of those kind of details, so I thought easy to just round it up in one video. So I'm gonna start with where we stayed. So we flew into Colombo. There's only one airport, or main airport, I think, in Sri Lanka. It's actually just outside of Colombo. Yeah, was absolutely fine. Quite a small airport, was out super quick. No issues with that. It was absolutely pouring down when we arrived. It was in the evening, about 8 o'clock, or maybe about 7. And we literally were thinking, oh my god, is this what it's going to be like? Because that is what the weather forecast had said. But from then on, it only rained one more time, and so that was like a top tip as well. When our driver took us to our hotel, he said, don't like ignore BBC News, because it says rain and thunderstorms every day, and we were there for 10 days and it only rained once. It was sunshine and like the odd cloud all the other days, so it really wasn't a true reflection, and quite a few of the staff said that to us, to not worry about that. So yeah, don't let that put you off. We had a 2-hour transfer to our hotel. We decided to go to the southern part of Sri Lanka, so we stayed in a town called Ahungalla. Forgive me if my pronunciation on any of these words is wrong. It's about 50 minutes from Galle, which they call like the capital of the south. We stayed in a RIU all-inclusive hotel, so it is a chain. We was kind of wanting to stay in a chain hotel just because obviously, you know, when you're travelling around different places, we just thought with a child in tow we can't afford to be having to eat out all the time and, you know, get ill or whatever. So yeah, we opted for a chain hotel, and it really didn't disappoint. The staff were absolutely amazing, like couldn't do enough for you, were so polite and just so happy. Like honestly, I don't know if I've met many Sri Lankan people in my life, but wow, like they are so amazing. Like they were all just so happy and just friendly, like loved their country, which was just so nice. The staff were 10 out of 10, like literally couldn't fault them, especially for us, the entertainment team. You know, we obviously have Phoebe and she loved them. Like everyone knew Phoebe by the time we left that hotel, and it was just so lovely. Like they'd make the effort to come over and speak to her and pick her up and play with her when she wanted. The room was absolutely fine. It was clean. It was pretty basic. It wasn't anything like super fancy. We had, I think it must have been like a king size bed in our room and a cot for Phoebe, but you could also have in there the sofa pulled out to a double bed, so I guess you could get a family of 4 in there. And then we had the sea view room, it really was incredible. So yeah, the hotel did have beach access, but at this time of year, all the red flags were up. The sea's really dangerous. The waves are so high that, to be honest, we went down there once because we wanted to get some pictures in sunset, which I do recommend you do because it was just stunning. But other than that, we actually didn't go down to the beach. But for us, we're not really beach kind of people. We much prefer, like, especially in the heat, being able to like dip in and out. Especially because it was only like probably early 30s, which obviously compared to the heat here is lovely, but it was really humid, so it did feel quite hot. I think it was like around 30s, but it felt like 40. So yeah, we really wanted to be able to like dip in and out of the pool. They had 3 pools, so one of them was like a massive, really big infinity pool with a swim up bar that was for adults only, and they had like the sunbeds in the pool, which I always think is really nice. Then they had another pool which was quite medium sized, with like the net across the middle, so you could do like pool volleyball, that kind of thing. They did all entertainment throughout the day. And then another really big infinity pool, again facing the beach, which was, kids could go in there as well. I'm not going to say it's a kids pool because it didn't really have anything for kids in it, but kids were allowed in it, and also had the sunbeds in the swimming pool. Also, down some steps at the end was like a kids splash pad with slides and that kind of thing, and a kids club, but that was for 4 and upwards, so I'm not going to comment on the kids club because we didn't use it. It was a buffet. They did have 2 restaurants, but to be totally honest with you, we looked at the menus. They didn't have kids menus, and also it kind of looked similar to what we could get in the buffet, so we just thought there's no point really. We was enjoying the buffet enough. Breakfast was pretty much the same every day, but again, like a massive choice. And then lunch and dinner changed every day, so plenty to choose from. Probably my only con, and I think Joe would agree with this, was that they didn't have like a kids section at the buffet. Now, don't get me wrong, there was obviously, they had pizza and chips every day, and then but there was, I think twice while we were there, they had chicken nuggets. But I just think maybe like a designated kids section that switched up a bit, maybe like some fish fingers, bits like that would have been quite good, but it wasn't enough to put us off going back there. In terms of the location, like I say, I've never been to Sri Lanka before, and neither had Joe, so I don't know if there's better locations in terms of like being able to go out and walk out of your hotel. But we did go for one walk on like the second day, just because we wanted to go to like a mini supermarket, just to see, just, you know, foreign supermarkets, they're the best. So we walked about 10 minutes up the road, and to be honest, like, we didn't do it again. You do get like hounded by the tuk-tuk drivers. Like, they did follow us, and I did feel slightly uncomfortable. I probably wasn't unsafe, but I just think you're always on high alert when you've got a small baby, and I just, yeah, they don't have paths, so like there's cars whizzing by. We got a couple of tuk-tuks while we were out there, and we actually really enjoyed it. Like, it was just part of the experience. So yeah, I think that was our experience with the hotel. In terms of our trip, so we booked our holiday through Emirates Holiday. They did also have a really big TUI stand in the hotel, and there was reps from there like most days, whereas I didn't actually see our rep again, so I don't know if it's big for Emirates or not. But we arrived on the Thursday, and then the Friday morning our rep came and met us. We booked 2-day trips through him, so we booked the safari trip to Ulawadawe, we chose the Ulawadawe National Park Safari for a couple of reasons. So we had before read online about the Yala one being a bit more, because it's a lot more popular, being a bit more busy. So that was why people were saying like the Ulawadawe one's quite quiet, so it's quite nice. Like you're not driving around behind people. You kind of like, we saw about 3 or 4 people, like other trucks basically, when we were driving around, so you didn't feel like you're just in a queue of traffic. We opted for that one for that reason, and also the fact that the drive was a lot further, and we had to leave at 4:30 AM as it was, so I think then having like possibly like a 3-4 hour drive would have just been pushing our luck a bit with Phoebe. We got picked up at 4:30 in the morning. It was about 2 hour drive. When we got there, we got out of the car. There was like a couple of cafes and shops, so if you wanted to buy souvenirs and stuff, that was there. We got a quick drink, changed Phoebe, and then we got into our safari jeep. Our driver came with us. He was so lovely, honestly. Like, he was such a lovely man. We had him for both of our trips, and he loved Phoebe. He was just a really great guy to have out with us, because he was Sri Lankan himself, and was just like, we were just asking loads of questions about the country, the culture. So yeah, it was just really nice. So it was only us on this big truck. So I do believe that when you book these day trips, unless you're obviously booking and wanting to go with another group, I think you get them to yourself, which I thought was really good. You just pay per person. So yeah, we went in, we did the safari, we saw so many elephants. It was incredible. Like, I think it might be one of the best things I've ever done, obviously bar having Phoebe. Like, the amount of elephants we saw was incredible, and they came so close. We saw a lot of other animals, like a lot of different birds. We saw an alligator, we saw like wild boars, some other land monitors, I think they were called. So yeah, so there is like a really slim chance you can see things like leopards, I think, or cheetahs, either one of those. And I do think there's a slightly bigger chance that you would see them at Yala, but you're still not guaranteed. We unfortunately didn't see anything like that, but we kind of wasn't expecting to, so we wasn't disappointed. I wasn't even expecting to see that many elephants, so the fact that we got to see that many was really happy about. Yeah, and then I suppose we must have been in there for about an hour and a half driving around. And then we headed back, and just across the road from where we'd left the car was an elephant orphanage. So we included in our day trip, we had tickets to go in there and watch all of the orphaned elephants get fed, like including babies. Honestly, they were queuing up like humans. It was actually really amazing to see. And then they'd all take it in turns to be fed. They basically are doing amazing work there. They find these elephants in the wild that are either injured, really malnourished, you know, just a bit in danger, and it's not safe for them to be in the wild. So they bring them in, give them the care they need, and then they release them back into the wild when they're ready. So yeah, just a really nice thing to support as well, you know. And then we headed back. So we were back at the hotel, I think, around 2 o'clock. So yeah, not a super long day, obviously a really early start, and I think they all are if you want to go at that time. Because I think the later in the day you go, the less likely you are to see things. And then another trip that we booked for our Emirates rep was just this big day out, basically, all down the south. So we started off by going to a turtle sanctuary. So basically, yeah, we got like a tour of what they do there. We got to see the little turtles that were like 1, 2, 3 and 4 days old. And then once they're 5 days old, they get released. And then all of the eggs waiting to be hatched. Some older turtles that, again, like the elephants, have like injuries and stuff, so they're treating them, and then they'll be released into the wild. And then there was a few that it will just never be safe for them. They won't survive in the wild, so they keep them there and look after them. So yeah, I will pop in the information bio for this video actual names of all the places that we went, so that you can, like, because there's loads of turtle places, but we went to this one and we thought it was really good. They had a really good shop as well. We bought loads of bits to take back to the UK from. Because we went there early in the morning, we couldn't release the turtles because they only released them after sunset. So we loved it so much and was really gutted that we didn't get to do that. So a couple of days later, we actually went back in the evening and we released the turtles, and we were the only ones on the beach, and we released about 20. I'm putting like way more of the actual footage of like what we got up to when we was away on our Instagram and TikTok. So if you do want to see like the actual experiences and what it was like, then make sure you're following us over there or go and have a look, because I've still got loads more to post, but I have posted some stuff already, so you can see like the hotel, just different bits really that I won't be over here on YouTube. Getting back to our day trip, we then went to the Tsunami Museum, and wow, what an eye-opener this was. It was so moving. It really hit home, like the devastation that country faced. Like it's just unreal, and it doesn't even bear thinking about, you know, the families, the kids, the animals, like all the facts they were giving us as well. Like some of them, it was all very interesting. Some things like the animals, like nobody knew because they didn't have the technology then and wasn't expected to happen. But things like the elephants would move like inland, and everyone thought it was really weird. They didn't know what animals were actually strange, but it's because they could hear things. So yeah, just found out a lot of information, and seeing how far they've come since then is pretty amazing. Then we went on to do a river safari. Now, I have joked to Joe, but in all seriousness, I don't know if I would call it just a boat trip, because we didn't really see any animals, so I'm not sure why it's called a safari. We saw like one of those land or water monitors, like a really big lizard thing. We didn't see any alligators apart from one, but it was more of like a touristy attraction. You could stop and pay to have your picture taken with it, and it kind of just didn't really sit right with us, so we didn't even entertain that. But I would recommend the trip, basically, but just don't expect to see lots of animals on this particular one. Boat to ourselves. It was really hot out in the water actually, but the boat had like shade, so that was good. So we stopped at loads of different islands. Yeah, we stopped at one island, which was this whole temple, which was just amazing. We got off and we walked around. He explained all the different statues and bits to us, and then it was a really special experience actually. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I'm not sure what this is called, but we went in to see a monk, and he like blessed all three of us and like tied this on, so it should be good luck. So that was just a really special experience, something we wouldn't do anywhere else. Stopped off at a cinnamon plantation, so again just like got shown how cinnamon's grown and made basically. And then basically just a little tour, like the guide was Sri Lankan, and he was just like telling us loads of things about what was going on the river, and just really interesting, and just it was really peaceful being out on the river. And then finally we went to see Galle Fort. So we saw the cricket ground. They've got a massive cricket ground there. Obviously cricket is really huge in Sri Lanka. And then we grabbed some lunch and just had a stroll around the local streets really. So yeah, really beautiful. And then we drove back. So all in all, we got picked up at about 9 o'clock and we were back by about 4 o'clock. So not too long of a day, just about the right time we thought, back for dinner. So yeah, that was the 2 trips that we did. And like I say, we went back to the turtle place a couple of days later to release the turtles in the evening. And then yeah, the only other time we left the hotel was to go to a restaurant. It's called Pier, and it was in a place called Bentota, a town just about, I think it was about 30 minutes in the tuk-tuk. I mean, we invited the driver in for dinner as well, so that he would drive us back. And for 3 adults and Phoebe, it was £40. So yeah, really, really reasonable out there. And for us, because we were there for 10 days, getting out that 3, 4 times, just broke up not having to stay in the hotel the whole time. So I would really recommend that if you're going for like 10 days to 2 weeks, then try and book some trips out and see the country. Right, last but not least, probably what most people want to know is how much it all cost us. So obviously just bear in mind that we did go in off-peak season, and also we flew from Dubai because obviously that's where we live, so it is quite a short haul flight. It's about 4 hours. So all in, our hotel and our accommodation booked through Emirates Holidays was about 10,600 dirhams. So at the moment that works out about £2,100. So that is, we thought that was so good for all inclusive for 10 days. Now our transfer was quite expensive, that we did book it. We booked it through Emirates Holidays, but we booked it really last minute because it was one of those things we kept saying we needed to do and we didn't do it. So don't do that. So all they had left was like basically a minivan. So we had a minivan for the 3 of us, which cost us 800 dirhams, which at the moment is about £160. That was for airport to hotel and hotel back to the airport. Then our safari trip, again, we booked it for our reps through Emirates Holidays just because we knew it was all legit and safe and all that kind of thing. Was about £190 per person. The Gaul trip, the day where we did loads of stuff, that was £115 per person. We got tuk-tuks 4 times. Now, they're not for everybody, but to be honest, I really wanted to try one because I just feel like that embraced the culture, and it was actually a lot of fun. I probably wouldn't have gone any more than like 30 minutes in one because it wasn't obviously the most comfortable. Yeah, so for 4 trips, again, like we said, the longest trip was like 30 minutes one way. These are all round trips as well. The most we paid for a round trip in a tuk-tuk was like £9 plus a small tip. Then we had 1 meal out. So like I think I mentioned this before, that was £40 for 3 adults and Phoebe. Finally, tipping. So luckily our rep kind of gave us the down low on what we should be tipping, and tipping is quite big out there and it's expected. Yeah, just bear that in mind. We probably spent about £200 while we were there. Give you just a quick breakdown on what our rep advised us on tips, just if you are thinking about going. So in terms of the hotel, he said to the driver that brought us, the transfer driver, should be about 1 to 2,000 each way rupees. The guy that takes the cases up to the room, 1,000 rupees. 400 rupees per night for the room boy, so your cleaner. This can be given to them on like the second from last day, so you make sure your one got it, or if not, you don't see them, leave it in an envelope but mark it that it's the tips. They don't think you've just left it by accident. Same for the restaurant staff, 400 rupees per night. We put this in an envelope, we gave it to the restaurant supervisor and for him to just dish out. And then we thought the entertainment team were absolutely incredible, so we tipped them about 12,000 rupees. It was quite a big group of them, they all were really good. So again, we just handed this to them in an envelope for them to split out between them. Then we were advised to tip the lifeguard, like the pool boy, 1,000 rupees on the first day so that we'd get a better service. And our driver for the day, so the one we got for both of our trips, we tipped him 3,000 to 4,000 rupees. The tip that we got from the Emirates rep was just don't ever tip anyone less than what equals to £1 because it's insulting, which obviously I totally understand. Yeah, so I hope that was really helpful. I think that's a pretty good roundup of what we got up to and a few little details. If you've got any questions or anything you think we've missed or anything that you really want to know what it was like or anything like that, just put a comment or message us and we can answer it. So yeah, if you are enjoying our videos, then make sure you're subscribed so you don't ever miss any. It's Sri Lanka over and out. Keep posted for the next holiday we're going to book.